Clarke.
Thank you, Lascar Coyle. Miriam Moriarty Owens, Mary Donovan, Mary Dunleavy Green and Morris Patton O'Connell. Those 4 courageous survivors of abuse in industrial schools who undertook a hunger strike for 51 days outside this very building did not do that lightly. They done it as the last act, the last resort. These survivors, already failed in childhood by the state and religious authorities, felt compelled to place their own health at risk simply to have their voices heard. And all for very modest demands, including a HAA card so that they can access medical care without additional financial hardship, a contributory state pension acknowledging the years of their unpaid labour carried out in the institutions. Government after government acknowledged wrongs but failed to implement fully comprehensive survivor-centred redress. The supports for survivors of residential institutional abuse of 2025 in reality was a half measure that ignored the unmet need of all survivors. Sinn Féin brought forward amendments at the time seeking to make that bill equal for all survivors of residential institutions, and all of our amendments were struck down by government. The 2025 Act failed to guarantee universal access to that HAA card. It didn't provide a contributory state pension in recognition of that unpaid institutional labour. It created eligibility thresholds that excluded survivors based on technicalities, and it introduced layers of bureaucracy that placed undue burden again on survivors to prove their suffering. A survivor-centre scheme would have ensured universal inclusion for survivors regardless of what institution they were in or the institution's religious ethos. That was not survivor-centred, it was bureaucracy-centred. It created a hierarchy of pain based on arbitrary lines. Survivors of institutional abuse were failed as children by religious orders and by the state, by the very systems meant to protect them. And they carry the consequences of that for a lifetime. Enduring trauma, an indelible mark was put upon them by those in authority, criminalised. The state now has an opportunity and an obligation to move beyond symbolism and deliver concrete, equitable, survivor-centred supports and a timeline for the delivery of them. All commitments must be delivered. Justice must be delivered. But an apology has to be the beginning, not the end, because an apology without justice is hollow and empty. And those 4 people sitting in our chamber today, and all the others like them, deserve so much more than that.
Deputy Ruth Coppinger.